So please come up. And you have up to 10 minutes, including questions. Thank you.
Good morning. I speak to oppose the addition of fluoride into the Hamilton water supply for the following reasons. Although fluoride has been added to our water supply for nearly half a century, the expected results have not been achieved. If the system is not producing the desired results, then surely alternative methods should be investigated. If fluoride was the complete answer to dental decay, then after 3 generations, one would assume that a marked improvement in the dental health of our children would be today. However, this is not the case because the problem still remains. I therefore believe that it is time to revisit the situation and endeavour to find a more effective and efficient approach to this expensive, unsatisfactory health problem causing our children so much trouble. I was amazed to find that there were 40 different brands of non-fluoride water in just one supermarket in town. These companies would not exist and their business if it wasn't for demand. This surely is an indication that a large portion of our residents seek fluoride-free water. As well, there must be thousands of homes with filtration systems to remove chemicals from their water supply. However, for financial reasons, neither of these options are readily available to the less fortunate in our community. They have no choice. Therefore, they are the ones who must accept our council's decisions. However, it is their children who are most affected by the dental decay. Quite obviously, the system is not providing the desired results. Therefore, in my opinion, since the results have not been met, the failed program does not justify the expense. We should, I think, be looking to find more effective ways to achieve a better outcome. We do not need fluoride water to wash the dishes or our clothes, or to bath or shower, or even flush the toilet, nor do we need it to water our gardens. But at the moment, we have no choice. Surely in this time of economic crisis, when we are teaching efficiency and sustainability, now is the appropriate time to weigh up the situation and to seek alternatives. To remove fluoride and make no attempt to solve the dental decay in our children would be totally unacceptable. I have discussed this topic with several doctors, and although they felt that the situation could be worse without fluoride, they all indicated that dental health in general needs to be addressed. They stated that children in low decile schools needed tuition in oral health. One doctor said that when she asked a young girl how often she cleaned her teeth, she said once a month. with unhealthy diets plus the damaging effect of Coke and other fizzy drinks, along with a packet of chips, and no good oral health habits, it is no wonder that cavities occur. One doctor offered a challenge to you, our council, to lead the country by deleting fluoride from our water supply and using that money to establish a dental health system in all our low decile schools, where the children would be taught how important it is to be responsible for looking after their teeth, because it is so obvious that that tuition is not being taught at home. The money saved by deleting the fluoride program would, I believe, achieve much better results by introducing a dental health care program in all schools and encouraging responsibility. The doctors also said that dental care should be treated as any other health problem. There is an old saying that if the student doesn't know, then the teacher hasn't taught. And surely this is the situation today. I would personally welcome the opportunity to assist in the establishment of this program, because I can clearly see the benefits that it would have with our children. Over the past 6 years, I have, as a volunteer, established a healthy eating, healthy living program in over 60 schools by establishing the growing of vegetables. And when I began, none of the children had ever seen a seed, nor did they know that the food they were expected to eat was grown in the soil. 90% of them now have gardens of their own at home. This is just, when they grow them themselves, they eat them. And over the past 2 years, with the generosity and support of an orchardist, I have personally delivered and helped to plant, with the Children's Aid, 300 fruit trees and supplied 20 water tanks to conserve rainwater for the school's gardens at no cost to the schools. I truly believe the school dental health program could be successfully achieved within budget if it were efficiently managed. I would personally welcome the opportunity to assist in the establishment of this program. Just as we have health nurses in school, we could have dental instruction as well. Our children are our future, and I know that by cooperation, together, a solution will be found. Thank you.
Davis, just see if there's some questions first. Any questions for you? No? That was a very good presentation, very clear, thank you. We've got no questions for you.
No questions?
No?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's really well presented. Deborah Parker? Hi, Deborah. Hello. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Deborah Parker, and thank you for the councillors being here today and Honourable Mayor. I am here against fluoridisation in the water, and I would just like to say that pretty much I think most areas have been covered about the fluoridisation and what it's about. So, as I am not a scientist or a doctor, but I am a Hamilton ratepayer, so I am very concerned, and I have done my due diligence on the subject, and I have found it quite disturbing, and I find that this is actually comes quite clearly as a humane issue, and we have the right as humans to make a choice. If I go to the supermarket, I have the right to decide whether I buy a product from China or if I would wish to buy a local product sourced and grown in New Zealand. That is my choice. If I wish to medicate myself, that is my choice, and I can do so to medicate my choice. I do have two young children. I am fortunate to have a water system that takes out fluoride, but this does not happen in the showering process, or I do use it in the cooking process, but there are many other things. And we have found out not long ago that our bodies are sponges, and we do, it is just not by drinking, it is through touch and feel. And I feel that this is huge. It's a huge debate, and I actually feel sorry for you all that have to make this decision, because it shouldn't be a government body making this decision tomorrow. It should be a government issue for all of New Zealand to be able to make this issue. So tomorrow you have to decide basically whether you, as a council, looking for the community of Hamilton, whether you are against or for fluoride. And it's huge. It is actually quite epic. This was raised 2 years ago. It has been raised through the years. 2 years ago I thought, yay, we're not going to have fluoride in our water. I didn't choose to come and speak. I signed a petition. That did not go through. Fluoride is still in our water. When I saw another petition, I felt like, yes, I can stand up here in front of all of you who do a great job. You serve our community and you serve it well, and you all are here to achieve and do the best that you can do. So tomorrow is a decision to be made. I hope that you can all put aside how you feel, because I know how strongly I feel. Whether you are for or against, I feel like if you could put it into a human right issue, which is what is the right of every human to be drinking in their water, and it shouldn't be medicine. There is no right that we should have medicated water in our water supply. Through this is pretty much, we should have clean water. We do have clean water, which is fantastic, but there are signs showing that this water really isn't clean by having fluoride. Fluoride is an issue about tooth decay, and if the issue tomorrow is to keep the water fluoridated, then people should have the right to know. A press release should go out. I would like to be one of those informed what fluoride is, and I don't want to see fluoride as it's great for the teeth, it does this and that. We all know fluoride does that if it has contact straight to the tooth. Fluoride is very strong. Fluoride is an ion. It is not a nutrient. It comes from an ion, and you need other components to make this fluoride. So I would like the public to know what is the fluoride that is put into our Hamilton drinking water, where it is sourced from, how it is made, and what are the names of these components that are made from fluoride. We know that fluoride comes naturally from the ground, but to be put into our drinking water, it needs components, and I would like to know what these components are. It didn't take me very long last night to research the Google, the encyclopedia of what fluoride is and where it derives from. And it derives from other ions, of course, and some of these just are unbelievable, and I would not want any of those near my body at all, and they are in all of our bodies, and we should all be concerned. If you go against fluoride, I will applaud you now. Thank you very much. And also put out a press release to people who are for fluoride to say they have options. There are options to help. There is toothpaste, there is proven scientific fact that we can all chew gum to stop the acid build-up in our teeth, and also to lower the sugar intake that is in our diet today, and that our children are receiving, and we are giving our children these hidden sugars. I believe we have the right, and it is a human rights issue about fluoridisation in water.
Okay.
Thank you. That's
Thank
all
you.
I've got to say.
Deborah, any questions? Can I just ask you, Deborah, do you use fluoride?
Pardon?
Do you use fluoride toothpaste?
No, I do not.
Okay. And if you've got children?
Yes, I have two children.
What's their tooth decay like?
Their tooth decay is minimal. They don't have any tooth decay. I have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. Unfortunately, my 4-year-old was bottle fed, and at that time I was not aware of the fluoride, so I am quite horrified with what a baby's actual intake is every day in baby formula. My oldest daughter was very happily breastfed. Both their teeth are very good. We have very healthy diets. They do not have fluoridated water. They do not use fluoride in their toothpaste. They have a very high organic healthy diet due to, fortunately, I can afford that. And I am in a situation to give that to my family. I understand that there is a small majority of people that cannot have this in their homes, but we should not be suffering for the small amount of people that cannot afford to feed their families. And that's basically what it comes down to at the end of the day. It's poor diet in the system. I mean, we're 2013, and I feel we haven't evolved very much. We have evolved in technology. We have leaps and bounds have been amazing. But in human rights issues, our evolving has gone backwards. Do you know what I mean? And this is where I do feel it is not fair for you as a council to really have to make this decision. I'm very happy that other councils have made the decision to go against fluoride, but it is something that I hope you can all go home tonight, deliberate. Tomorrow you do your due diligence and don't feel it's an attack on you personally. This isn't about you personally. This is about every human being's right. And I hope that you can make it on those grounds. Water should not be medicated. It is our right if we wish to take medication ourselves.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a question? Min Hong Lee. Hi there.
Hi, my name is Min Hyung Lee. I'm Korean. Sometimes you ask to me, are you North Korean? Yes, but I'm Republic of Korea. And also, I'm speaking with you not agreed the fluoride in water. And also, I agree with previous lady, the fluoride is option. Yes, it's that option. For the first time, in my case, when I was in Korea 20 years ago, my local city council has got a fluoride in the water. But nowadays, many children, my friend's children, the teeth, the color is making a change to gray. Yes, look at your teeth, it's beautiful. But if you use the fluoride water, your teeth will be gray. The color has been changed. It's binging. And also, the fluoride water is toxic. I would like to ask to city council person, is fluoride toxic? Is it? But if 1 ppm fluoride is not toxic, it's good for teeth and good for children's and humans' teeth, but the teeth color will be changed. If your face color and your bodies change, are you happy? No. And second things, the legal problem. That is very important. The city council has to agree to with Hamilton City all people, and also it has to be agreed with the older people. But it's a little bit small people make a decision for fluoride water. Hamilton has got a pure water. If fluoride in the water, the Hamilton city will be fluoride city. As I know, from 1958, Scotland case that is started for the fluoride water. It was very important case. The government and some people is not agreed with the fluoride, and also the court make a case it's illegal. But the government city council, the local city council had been started the fluoride water. So New Zealand and Australia and Canada, some local council, it was started the fluoride water. Nowadays in Korea, in the case of Korea, 5 or 4 local city council put it in the water fluoride. But nowadays it's less than before, because fluoride is not good for the health. So it's no good for the health. And also second thing is human right. Yes, I agree with the lady. If your life is your life, but city council make a fluoride in the water, it's management by city council, your water, your life. That is very important too. City council is needed for city people. But if city council put it in the water fluoride, city council managed city people, Hamilton city people. I'm not agree that. And I'd like to ask to you the allergic things. If fluoride in the water, any allergic things for the body, human's body, and also we can buy the fluoride toothpaste and everything at the supermarket now. And also we can choose our own right. So that is human right. And then it's a little bit illegal things at the moment. Also, there is very politic act, I think, because if these fluoride things making the decision at city council, it will be making any other like this case. It's very simple. And also, I do speak to you the Korea case. In this year, the fluoride factory has got some problem. That is incident. So around 10 kilometers people avoid to the fluoride things. So they had to move their own land. It's very important. Yes, that was toxic. But 1 ppm fluoride is not toxic. Yes. So I would like to ask to city council people just one thing. If you will use fluoride in the water, any other allergic things, any other no good case? And also, I would like to ask to you just one thing. Do you have any other solution things? I think we will talk for this long time. We can make a decision for Hamilton people and Waikato area regional people. So it is very important thing. The human right make by ourselves, but if you make a decision to put in the water fluoride, City Council makes Hamilton City Council's life. It's no good thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Min. Right, are there any questions for Min? No? Okay. Thank you. Paula Salisbury. Hi, Paula.
Acting Chief Executive, Mayor, Tribunal, members, audience. Hi, I'm Paula Salisbury. I am a ratepayer and a resident. My professional background is as a biochemical engineer trained here at the University of Waikato, and I have some experience in environmental engineering. I have just listened to the last presenter, and I suspect that what I have to say are all things you have heard before, but I would encourage you to listen to me and to subsequent presenters with fresh ears and fresh eyes. I read in your council agenda that you're not making this decision based on numbers alone, and that's good, but I hope that you're not dulled by hearing the force of the argument presented to you. I want to stress that I am a concerned citizen. I am not part of any organised group, and I understand that perhaps that would carry a bit of weight with you, that I am just a ratepayer. But I do have a fluoridated bone to pick with being forcibly medicated. And I also contend that public oral health is better served by someone other than the council and in some other way than adding fluoride to drinking water. On the issue of forced medication, fluoride is added to our water to address a health issue, as opposed to chlorine, which is added for the sake of sanitation, and therefore I consider it to be medicine. I see no ethical difference between adding fluoride to the water and adding antibiotics, vitamins or other substances meant to affect health. On the issue of the medication being forced, my submission referenced the Code of Rights under the Health and Disability Commissioner Act. In particular, I highlighted the right to be treated with respect, the right to freedom from discrimination, coercion, harassment and exploitation, the right to dignity and independence, the right to services of an appropriate standard, the right to be fully informed, and the right to make an informed choice and give informed consent. I want to emphasise that I consider the Council to be in breach of its responsibility to provide clean drinking water to the city, and that you do not have my consent to medicate my family's water with fluoride. The principle here is the right to refuse treatment. My family has not appointed the Council as doctor, nurse or as pharmacist. You are not health professionals, and you are not employed as such. Even a health professional cannot forcibly medicate a patient. I see the situation with the Ministry of Health and the District Health Board and the relationship between those two bodies and the council on the issue of fluoride, akin to a doctor telling a landlord to force-feed me pain medication. It's true you can add fluoride to the water, but I consider that you have no right to do so. And in the words of G.K. Chesterton, to have a right to do a thing is not at all to be right in doing it. I see the issue of forced medication as a sufficient reason to stop adding fluoride to the water supply. But I would like to mention in brief other reasons which I consider to have an impact on this issue. I see the burden of proof as resting with you, the Council, to show the safety and the efficacy of adding fluoride to our water supply. I noted that some of the verbatim comments quoted in the agenda assumed that fluoride does protect against dental caries. My anecdotal experience is that that is not the case, definitely not in my neighbourhood of Norton, and also that there are unintended consequences because fluoride is not just affecting our teeth, but also our bodies and our land. I'm pregnant, and I would like to know whether you can prove beyond reasonable doubt that my baby is not affected by fluoride. And I also have friends with kidney disease, and I know that they would say that this is not a burden that their kidneys need. I consider it better to administer fluoride if needed and as needed. I noted in the agenda that some of the submissions for continuing to add fluoride had a just filter it approach, that if we don't want fluoride in our water, we could easily remove it. I don't think it's that easy, actually. I have a right to clean water from the Council and a right to freedom of choice as the default position. If Council decides to agree with the just filter it argument, I think I might be invoicing the Council for my filtering costs. From an engineering perspective, we're faced with a design problem. The first question we ask is, what is the problem that we are trying to solve? What is the purpose that we are trying to achieve? Quoting from the agenda again, I noted that it said, the concern is poor oral health, particularly for Maori and Pacific Island populations. So then, whose job is fixing our oral health? For whom do we do this? Why do we do this? How do we do this? I think public fluoridation answers none of these satisfactorily. By anecdote, Norton, I'm proud to live there. I noticed that in our cul-de-sac, most of the meals coming home would be fizzy, fatty, and contain few fresh foods. And those things would far outweigh any effects of fluoride in our drinking water. I think too that adding fluoride gives a false sense of security, that people feel that someone else is looking after their oral health, and that's not the case. In the quarterly ratepayer survey quoted in your agenda, those of Maori descent are the most likely to want Council to stop. So if your concern really is the Maori and Pacific Island populations, listen to that voice. Also from the agenda, the Waikato DHB notes that community water fluoridation is an adjunct of the oral health strategy, not an alternative to other oral health care activities. I agree on this point. I think other activities, such as perhaps targeted fluoridation, fluoride in toothpaste if you really want to, just brushing your teeth, eating healthily, and, drinking water, carry far greater weight than adding fluoride to our water supply, have far less risk. It satisfies the informed consent requirement. It removes Council from acting as a health provider, reduces costs to Council, and is targeted. So by the principles of human rights, if nothing else, I say that the Council has no mandate to continue adding fluoride, and indeed has a mandate to stop.
Okay, just... Thank you. All right, Rowena Kalopa. Hope I've said that right. Hi, Rowena. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
All right, so Mayor, councillors, public. On the Ministry of Health website, it states, one of the objectives of district health boards is to improve, promote and protect the health of people and communities. It also says district health boards are expected to show a sense of social responsibility, to foster community participation in health improvement, and to uphold the ethical and quality standards commonly expected of providers of services and public sector organisations. All right, so with evidence from Harvard to China, paediatricians and dentists, global scientific and medical experts, our own dentist and public health official, Dr. John Colquhoun, once one of New Zealand's most prominent pro-fluoridation experts, along with Professor Robert Mann, who I believe is here, there is overwhelming evidence of just how damaging fluoridation of the water supply is. Countries such as Sweden, Norway, Austria, Denmark, Finland, Germany, France, Netherlands, China and Japan do not have fluoride. They've either stopped or never started. Serious health issues with bones, brains, babies, children, and thyroids. According to scientific studies, they are damaged by drinking fluoridated water. Logically, it baffles the mind that we have to drink fluoridated water and subject our bodies to toxic waste when fluoride can be applied topically in the form of tablets if deemed necessary and should be on the advice of a dentist or doctor. Then it would be for that person and that person only. How is it legal that I have to drink fluoridated water, and toxic at that, when I have not had a doctor prescribe it for me? In my occupation, I administer medication to clients, and these meds have to be given to one person alone, no one else. And if I make a mistake, I am held accountable for that mistake. How can it be legal to not only have the public being mass medicated, but having non-medical professional citizens making this decision for us? Hamilton City Council councillors has no legal mandate to medicate me or the population of Hamilton, as the councillors are not medical practitioners. I'd also like to add here that this should not be a political decision. It is a moral one. Why is the Waikato District Health Board legally required to support the pro-fluoride policy of the Ministry of Health? Is it a question of how much funding they will get? Does the Ministry of Health get funding for pushing fluoride? Anyone in a decision-making capacity to vote for or against the continuation of fluoride in the water has both a moral and ethical responsibility to examine all the evidence, scientific and otherwise. Dr. Felicity Dumble, who presents false claims with no substance, is compromising her integrity. Anyone can be uninformed, but in a regulatory position has a duty to become informed, and Felicity is not doing that.
Remember that Felicity it's not her personally, she's representing the
Right,
DHB.
okay.
So just watch that, okay? Yeah.
But she still has a moral responsibility here. I would not be able to live with myself if I voted for continuation of fluoridated water with all the evidence that has been presented in Hamilton over the past few days, and would consider myself committing crimes against humanity by doing so. To not look at all the evidence of the harm done by fluoridation of the water supply, the matter then is one of a criminal nature and should be pursued accordingly. I'd like to mention here that Hamiltonians have spoken out in unprecedented numbers and are supported by very credible experts, both local and from further afield. 89% of the written submissions wanted fluoride out, 1,386 against, and 174 for. There were 1,560 written submissions received altogether. Of those, 118 speaking wanted fluoride out, and only 13 wanted the fluoride in. In order to cut down the tribunal to a reasonable time frame, it was organised for many speakers either to reduce their time to 1 minute or to pull out altogether. So although the numbers of speakers are still very impressive, they were in fact reduced considerably. And managed to reduce the tribunal from approximately 6 days to 4. This needs to be pointed out when it comes to counting up the number of speakers. As well as the impressive lineup of professional and expert speakers that represented everyone, councillors should also take note of the professional experts who sent in written submissions, and they need to pay particular attention to them as well. Some of these are Kathy Justice from Pagosa Springs, Colorado, national spokesperson against fluoride poisoning in animals, who has the sad distinction of having the first horses to ever be diagnosed with chronic fluoride poisoning from artificially fluoridated municipal water. Sally Fallon-Morell, co-founder and president of the Weston A. Price Foundation. Dr. Weston Andrew Price was a graduate 1893 of the University of Michigan and is well known for his research on nutrition as it affects dental caries. Dr. James Beck, MD, PhD, co-author with Dr. Paul Connett, PhD, and Dr. H.S. Micklem, The Case Against Fluoride. Dr. Kathleen Thiessen, PhD, senior scientist at SEENS Oak Ridge Inc., a Centre for Risk Analysis in Tennessee. Professor Bruce Spittle, MB, with CHB with distinction, DPM, Otago, authored Fluoride Poisoning, subtitled is Fluoride in Your Drinking Water, and from other sources, Making You Sick, ? Long-time resident of Dunedin, he is a Fellow of the Royal Australian and New Zealand College of Psychiatrists, recipient of many prizes and awards, a former senior lecturer, Department of Psychological Medicine, University of Otago, Dunedin, and consultant psychiatrist for the Otago District Health Board, 1978 to 2004, just to name a few. In ending, I'd like to say that the Ministry of Health and the District Health Board need to follow their own policies mentioned on their website. The continued fluoridation of the water in Hamilton must cease. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rowena. I've got a question, Rowena, there was a question by Councillor Boss. Councillor
Rowena,
Boss had a question for you.
You spoke about the numbers of people who are here opposing fluoride. What would you say about a referendum that was held some 5-6 years ago, where 70% of the people who responded wanted fluoride left in?
Well, all I can say is there's a lot of evidence out there now.
We need to go on the mic for the webcam. Thank you.
Okay. I think that it's been brought to their attention of the new evidence that's out there, and that's what's happened. I mean, it's unquestionably a huge reversal, and so people have just become more educated. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, the next speaker is Denise Davis. Denise Davis.
Now let's get this straight. You want to put a byproduct of the fertiliser industry that's classified as, I can't, can I have some more light? A waste.
Sorry, can we bring the light back?
Thank you. I haven't got my glasses so.
This is to toggle through your slides.
I'm not using any.
You're not? Okay.
No, I just want to be able to see. Thank you. Now let's get this straight. You want to put a byproduct of the fertiliser industry that's classified as hazardous waste and a pollutant in the air and soil into the public water supply? Yes. Why? Because the Americans are using it. Why? Because they think it could be good for children's teeth. But you said it was hazardous waste. So what happens when the public find out? Well, that's already sorted. We'll have public relations people onto it. So you'll sell the concept with PR? Yes, well, we found out that there's a very small amount of a non-industrial form of this stuff already in the water. Right. So we can say that it's naturally occurring. Right. And we don't have to say we're adding it to the water. We can say we're just adjusting the natural level. Right. But do we have irrefutable evidence that it's safe? Well, no, but if we can get the doctors and dentists to say it's safe, effective, and the most cost-effective way to prevent tooth decay, the public will believe it. But how are you going to get them to say that? Simple. We'll teach them in dental and medical school. But what if some of them don't agree? Well, they can't work for the MOH or the DHB or receive any funding from them if they don't. Right. Hello, my name's Denise Davis. I now reside in Thames, and as well as being a retired registered nurse, I have a confession to make. From 1983 to the year 2000, I ran my own public relations business in Sydney, specialising in creative budget-conscious PR programs for multinational pharmaceutical and food companies, companies like Fison's Consumer Health, Sterling Winthrop, who were then the makers of Panadol, Cerebros and Western Milling, to name but a few. So I've been responsible in the past for constructing and shaping messages to the public that have then been conveyed by eminent specialist doctors and scientists. Now, I at least have a medical background, but as I'm sure you're aware, most PR people don't. They're more likely to be ex-journalists or communications graduates. So the irony is that the people who've constructed and shaped the messages to promote fluoridation to the public are most likely to be like yourselves, not health professionals. The health professionals delivering the promotional messages are just the mouthpieces of other interests. And those vested interests have been alluded to already by other presenters, so there's no need for me to go there. But what I would like to do is to offer my suggestions for fast-tracking a truly cost-effective, innovative, fluoridation-free dental caries prevention program. One that's quite unlike anything that's been done before, would be more effective than fluoridation, and which comes minus risk of any harmful and costly to the health budget side effects. This is not about spin. It's about a powerful public health program to prevent tooth decay in Hamilton, and its consequences would be greater than simply achieving that. It's about engaging children in imaginative and participatory ways in their own healthy teeth awareness, instead of teaching at them, getting their creative juices as well as their saliva flowing. In the process, they're likely to gain more confidence and self-esteem while working with a team. Kaupapa Māori would be an intrinsic part of the process. And there's another positive side effect to this. When exposed to this interactive type of learning, children will be likely to take the messages home to their siblings and parents. So how to do it? The program would come in 4 main segments targeted at different groups: preschoolers, 6 to 12-year-olds, teens, and later could be extended to adults. It would commence with detailed information gathering from the younger stakeholders, with a view to producing a colourful picture booklet containing the children's own creative contributions, and with a te reo version for kohanga reo. The hero of the booklet is a healthy tooth called Harry, which means happy in Māori. And good tooth care is taught through Harry's adventures. What makes Harry happy? Brushing the right way twice a day. What makes Harry sad? Not brushing the right way twice a day. The message is that happy teeth are cool, and cool teeth are free from bad bacteria. The children's drawings of Harry the Happy Tooth would be used to illustrate the booklet, and this happy tooth character could eventually emerge in Weta Workshop-style garb to visit schools and functions around New Zealand, telling the Happy Tooth story. The aim would be to make Harry the Happy Tooth a beloved New Zealand icon. In a sponsorship deal with a toothbrush manufacturer, all Hamilton preschool, kohanga reo and primary school children could have toothbrushes supplied and correct toothbrushing techniques included in lessons. They may also have fun making their own toothpaste, using ingredients like baking soda, peppermint oil, vegetable glycerin, and xylitol, a natural non-toxic sugar that prevents dental caries by protecting teeth from bad bacteria. Primary and secondary school. The structure of teeth and how to prevent tooth decay could be featured as research projects in primary and secondary school science and biology classes, along with relevant experiments, e.g. a sheep's tooth dissolving in a glass of Coca-Cola. The Happy Teeth project could flow through all areas of the school curriculum. In IT classes, children could be encouraged to produce tooth-happy informative video clips to share on YouTube, tooth-happy audio podcasts for iTunes, and to even try their hands at developing tooth-happy video and computer games and tablet and smartphone apps. In art and design classes, they could perhaps design tooth-happy board games, and in cookery and gardening, tooth-happy cooking and nutrition. In fact, the educational possibilities are limitless. For adults, Teeth Talk, an amusing and quirky monthly column in the Waikato Times, could have advisory tooth care and news from local dentists plus the latest international trends. It may be reprinted as a flyer for distribution in doctors' and dentists' waiting rooms and feature a competition with readers answering questions about content before entering a draw. Prizes may be donated by local dentists, free checkup, or manufacturers an electric toothbrush. The same material can be aired on local radio. Monitoring. The results of this innovative dental caries prevention program will be strictly monitored for maximum effectiveness and appropriate adjustments made as and when required. It's expected that the pilot would later be extended to other parts of New Zealand. Costs could be less than the current spend on fluoridation of Hamilton's water supply. Summary. This project is also about respecting people, teachers and parents as well as children, making them complicit in their own learning while boosting their intellectual and creative capabilities. And it's about respecting the Wairua, spirit, and wai, water, in Waikato as well. Thank you.
Presentation, right, any questions? No, very clear, and thank you for your role play in the beginning. It's very good. No? Good.
I've got some copies here.
Right, if you'd like to give those to Jacob, sure. He'll be able to hand those out. Thank you very much. Okay, Peter Archer is next. Yes, if Jacob, give them to Jacob, he'll sort that out.
Okay, good morning everyone, afternoon or whatever it is. Not quite sure, I rushed in from Thames, I got lost about 10 times on the way here, but I arrived eventually.
Okay. We've got our Infrastructure General Manager who will pass on road signage comments to the NZTA.
Sorry, I can't quite hear you, sorry.
We've got our General Manager for roading just sitting there.
Oh, okay.
And he's going to pass on.
Yeah, well, High Street, it's impossible to get onto High Street. I was trying to get off
have a High Street, that's probably
from
why.
over the rail bridge and you can't get down.
Okay, Chris is making notes, so thanks very much. All right, thank you.
I had to leave my car to get a tow bar fitted and I just couldn't find the place, so it took about half an hour.
All right, well, you're here now and you've got 10 minutes to tell us what you want to tell us.
Okay, now, I'm well aware that everybody here at the end of a very long series of hearings, you've heard it all before, you've heard it all before, you've heard it all before. So I'm not going to repeat anything that you've heard before, hopefully. Now, my background is in technology, science and health. I won't say any more than that because I've only got 10 minutes. But I know how to do research and I've done a lot of digging about this issue of fluoride and I've come up with a couple of things, some original research that you've probably never heard of. And it's on the handouts there. just briefly. What did I do with my glasses? Here we go. Dr. Kevin Boyd, who's a dentist at the in Chicago at the former Children's Memorial Hospital in Chicago, is also currently doing a PhD in evolutionary medicine and has a master's degree in biochemistry. And he's uncovered the fact that what actually causes tooth decay is the plaque on the teeth becomes activated by the highly refined sugars that have been stripped away from the natural food. And we all know this. This is well acknowledged by everybody, of course, that it's all the Coca-Cola and all the other stuff. I don't want to just get down on Coke, but all that other stuff that we eat and drink. So the plaque is activated by those simple carbohydrates that are not conjugated to its native fibre. Now the other one that I wish to quote today is Professor Alan Cooper, a Kiwi who's now a resident in Australia. And his area of research is in what they call ancient DNA. And one of his recent projects is to research the bacteria in people's bodies and how it's changed over the years. And he somehow managed to recover samples from old bodies from way back, thousands of years, and analyse the DNA on the bacteria that's embedded on the teeth. And it's totally different to the bacteria that inhabit our mouths and teeth today. It's completely different. And the reason that our ancestors had good teeth, including in this country before the Europeans arrived, was because there was a colony of healthy bacteria in the mouth and on the teeth that protected the teeth from tooth decay. And so he was asked, what's your advice? And the number one piece of advice is avoid mouthwash. The mouthwash destroys all the beneficial bacteria. Now think, what does fluoride do? It's a mouthwash. 10 times a day, 15 times a day, every time you ingest something with fluoride in it, something liquid with fluoride in it. Doesn't matter whether it's cooking water that you cook the cabbage in, or whether it's water straight from the tap or whatever, it's a mouthwash. And you're constantly destroying all those beneficial bacteria. So think about that. Okay, now on a different note, I'm also a renal patient. I'm on dialysis several times a day. And I don't know if anyone else here has spoken on behalf of the renal patients, but I do know there are hundreds of them in Hamilton City and in Waikato district. I attend the clinic occasionally. I've been a renal patient for a couple of years now. And I've searched and searched and searched, and I've found nowhere have I found any evidence that fluoride in the water is safe for renal patients. Now, has anybody actually done any tests, any proper studies where they've measured the amount of fluoride going in on a typical renal patient and then analysed the urine coming out to see how much actually comes out through the kidneys? Let's say there's 0.7 parts per million, which equates to 7 milligrams per litre of water that you consume. Let's say you consume about 2 litres a day, including all your cooking water and everything else. So that's about 1.4 milligrams per day. Now, if someone's in fairly sort of what they call end stage renal failure, where does it go? How does it get out of the body? What happens to it? Now, I think I know what happens to it. It gets stored mainly in the bones because the body copes somehow, just like it does with heavy metals. I've researched heavy metal toxicity in great depth as well, and I've detoxed myself from heavy metals, and it's a similar sort of process. It gets stored in the tissues and the bones, and some of it ends up, as you've already heard, in the last 4 days, in the pineal gland and the thyroid, and so on, and in the brain. Okay, now, in order to protect myself from this, I attempted, because I'm from Thames and it's fluoridated, I bought a water filter that supposedly removes fluoride. And then I had it tested. I took samples, I sent the samples to the lab. It's not working. It only takes out about 10% of the fluoride. The rest of it, the 90%, stays in the water, even after it's been filtered in a double action filter. The reason being, I'm pretty sure, is the filter is designed, even though it's supposed to remove fluoride, it is designed for a different variety of fluoride. It's designed to remove sodium fluoride and calcium fluoride. In other words, the natural fluoride that's in your Waikato River, it removes that, but it doesn't touch the other stuff that you add to the water because it's a different compound. It's tied up. The fluoride ions are tied up in that molecule. And I know that someone gave evidence a day or two ago about that. The chemical engineer guy, I've just forgotten his name, he was going to speak about the different types of molecules. And that's a critical difference. So I can't take it out with my filter. So now I'm resorting to buying bottled water from the supermarket. And for the last few weeks, since I've been off the fluoridated water, you wouldn't believe how much more energy I've had and how much better I sleep. I've had chronic insomnia ever since I've been in an area that's fluoridated, beginning in Wellington in the 1990s, which is when my health started to deteriorate. I know it's anecdotal evidence, but I'm sure fluoride is making a difference to me. And now I'm off it, I'm a lot better. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Any questions for Peter? Peter, I just wanted to ask you, have you got some sort of qualifications, or
Sorry?
have you got some sort of qualifications in medical or science?
Not medical science, no. I have a diploma in aromatherapy. I've been a natural health practitioner for over 20 years, and before that I was a telecommunications technician, so I have a technical sort of background.
Okay.
And also I'm currently a student through Massey University, majoring in anthropology, social science.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for clarifying that. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much, Peter, and I hope that you can find your way back out.
Thank you.
Okay, next one is Paul Wood. Hi Paul, how are you?
Thank you.
Great. Got 10 minutes to tell us your story, thanks.
Yeah, as you asked the previous speaker about qualifications, my qualifications is a doctorate, but not in medicine. But it equipped me to be able to carry out research. And I've been fascinated by the debates in the newspaper over fluoridation of the water. So I decided that I'd use my skills and I'd research, because I was neither for nor against. So I did. And I was absolutely astounded at the stuff I found. And now, well, I'll explain. First of all, I found that caries is not actually a disease, because you can't catch it by using somebody's toothbrush. You can't catch it by kissing somebody. It's actually an infection. It's an infection of the teeth when the conditions of the mouth become such that bacteria can grow there. Such as if you cut yourself and you don't clean it, you'll get an infection. So if you don't clean your teeth, you'll get an infection. And then I researched the statement that Maori had terrible teeth until the Europeans got here. And I discovered that wasn't true. I'm out of breath because I've been running. I discovered that wasn't true either. When the early settlers got here, Maori had perfect teeth. They were worn down by the time they got to middle age, because they wore down because of their coarse diet. But they had no caries. And this was remarked on by the ship surgeons and the physicians, the early physicians. They couldn't believe that Maori had such perfect teeth with no caries. But of course, once the European diet was introduced, caries began to occur in teeth, because the mouth then offered a habitat for caries bacteria, because there was no dental hygiene. There was a high sugar diet, but very little dental hygiene. So then I went to the Twin Rivers trial, which began the whole process. I was amazed, because I would have expected in the Twin Rivers trial, if there was a difference, the people who were having fluoridated water, their dental caries would be a horizontal line, no increase in caries, whereas those that were not taking fluoride, their teeth would slowly get more and more caries. So you get a divergent line. No, they were parallel lines. Now, to a scientist, as soon as they have parallel lines, that's not a reduction, that's a delay. Because if you draw a horizontal line, you find that the caries in the fluoridated population was exactly the same as in the non-fluoridated population, except in the non-fluoridated population, it occurred 2 years later. So there was no overall reduction at all into old age. So that stunned me. And then I thought, well, why is that so? Then I did more research and found out that fluoride affects the cells which destroy the roots of the baby teeth, so they fall out. If those cells are injured, they can't let the teeth fall out fast enough, so they fall out 2 years later. So you're exposed to a diet of sugar 2 years later. Then I looked at our own trial, Napier and Hastings, which you've probably heard about, which was discontinued because it didn't show what people wanted it to show. So I thought, well, how come there's a decline of caries in populations? I discovered the decline in caries in New Zealand populations occurs whether your water is fluoridated or not. It's because of increased dental hygiene. If you prepare your mouth, if you make your mouth a clean mouth, caries can't infect it as they can't infect a clean wound. So I carried on. I was just amazed by what I was finding out. So the next thing I thought, well, I've heard the people in the newspaper say we have to protect the poor, especially Māori children, because they have poorer dental hygiene than the others, so they need the protection offered by fluoridation of water supply. But it's self-evidently not true, because while I was researching this, I saw it. Honestly, I am amazed, because I would neither for nor against. Preschools, bad teeth, worrying, all over our local paper. So it's not working. Fairfield sees 10,000 kids a year with rotten teeth, so it's not working. So then I look in the Herald, Dismayat tooth decay in kids. It's not working. It's not working. It's in the papers. So I read what the District Officer for Health says. Dental Associate Darius Seidman, Fairfield Centre reminds children about the importance of brushing twice a day. The incidence of poor oral health and dental decay varies widely across the population, with up to 50% of preschoolers showing signs of obvious dental decay. We fluoridate the water, 50% of the preschoolers show signs of obvious decay. Why? Because people do not use proper dental hygiene. So we're fluoridating the water, I found out, for no effect. Now, this is all new to me, right? So then I also found out that misinformation was really common when I asked people about fluoridation. My dentist told me that, as I read in the Listener, that minute amounts of fluoride will remineralize teeth. It will stop the demineralization of teeth. It will actually prevent decay, dental decay. Small amounts of fluoride. So I thought, okay then. So I went and researched it. So this is a journal article from the Journal of Clinical Pediatric Dentistry. Now, this is written by 3 researchers for pediatric dentistry, and it says, the role of remineralization and fluoride in the dynamic process of demineralization, remineralized teeth. Right, I'm onto this. I thought it does work. So I read this. It is truly remarkable the difference that a very small amount of fluoride, less than 1 part per million, has upon demineralization and remineralization of teeth. Got it. My dentist is correct. It holds great promise for preventing and reversing caries, especially in the 1/5 of the population, that's the low associated group, that accounts for 2/3 of the caries experience. I'm onto it. Final paragraph. This may be accomplished with fluoridated toothpaste, supplemented with fluoridated mouth rinses, fluoridated chewing gum, and the application of fluoride varnishes on the teeth. The role of systemic fluoride appears to be limited. They proved that fluoride works. Of course it works. If you put it on your teeth, not if you drink it. It doesn't work if you drink it. You can drink it as much as you like. You can drink 15 gallons a day, but it won't protect your teeth because the caries infects when the mouth offers opportunity for the caries bacteria, which is through diet and not proper dental hygiene. Anyway, I continue. So I keep researching. Remember, I'm a naive researcher in this area. And then I found that some medical practitioners and dentists and our DHB, like my dentist, advocate it. Now, why, if I can find in just one search, research by dental researchers and published in a pediatric journal of dentistry, that drinking fluoride has no effect, but dental hygiene with fluoride toothpaste does. How come they keep telling me that fluoride water is good for kids' teeth? Because I was a teacher before, I was an ex-principal. So I value the health of children. 3 minutes. I think it's because the emperor's got no clothes. I think the emperor's got no clothes, been saying it for long enough, and no one said, you've got no clothes. So the emperor keeps saying it, because he can't afford not to. Because if the emperor admits they've got no clothes on, he's going to look pretty stupid. So he has to keep saying, I'm wearing the clothes. But he's beginning to realise, the dentist profession and the local body of health, that they aren't actually wearing no clothes, because if you remember, and I do, in the past, we gave our children fluoride tablets and our pregnant mothers fluoride tablets. We told our children to swallow fluoride toothpaste, and now the advice from the dental profession is don't take fluoride tablets, only use a pea-sized piece of toothpaste, and don't swallow it. So they're beginning, but they can't go the full hog and get dressed again. Anyway, so in conclusion, I've found that caries is not caused by a lack of fluoride in the diet, and fluoridation of water supplies does not reduce the incidence of caries. It is increased oral hygiene and diet that can reduce the incidence of caries, which is why all over our nation the incidence of caries is being reduced. And no matter how much you put in the water supply, it will not improve the condition of the poor socioeconomic group children in our society, because the dental researchers who contribute to the Journal of Clinical Pediatric Dentistry is just one example of dental research that shows it's a load of hog. Anyway, so that's my position now. So I'm at my pleas to the council, please, 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 don't keep putting this stuff in the water because it's my taxpayers' money, and I would much prefer, as an ex-teacher, that any money you saved, you would join a public-private partnership with Colgate or another toothpaste maker and the DHB and promote dental hygiene. And then you truly would be using my taxpayers' money to reduce the dental caries in our poor children. Thank you.
I just have one question for you. The Paediatric Dentistry Journal, from which you got the article, is that an international journal? Where's it from?
That's from America.
And where were the researchers from?
The researchers were Department of Pathology, Department of Pediatric Dentistry, Dental Branch, Texas Children's Hospital, Baylor College of Medicine, University of Texas, Houston, and the Health Service Center at Houston, and the School of Dental Medicine, Nova Southeastern University, Fort Lauderdale, and the Departments of Diagnostic Science and Pediatric Dentistry, University of Texas, right, and the Health Science Center, Dental Branch, Houston.
And what year is that publication?
2008.
Right, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
We've had evidence also that the European countries, and there's quite considerable, nearly 9/10 of them, don't fluoridate.
No, it's a waste of money.
They also show a dramatic decline in caries. What is your conclusion on that one?
I'd research that. Any information given to you by the pro-fluoridation lobby, ask them for references and research it. Because I was given all this stuff and I researched. I only chose this one to show the misinformation I was given. There's lots more.
Thank you.
It's best if you research it.
Margaret?
Just quickly, the 2008 research, is that the most recent you found?
Oh, no, there were not more. I just took this because it was the first one and I just printed it off.
Okay.
You'll find more. Just journal, fluoride and tooth decay.
Yep.
And honestly, there's research from all over the world that you can check yourself.
Thanks.
I was appalled because I'm a researcher.
Right. Okay, hey, thank you very much, Paul. Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so councillors, we've got no other speakers now, so that's the end of the individual submissions. So we're now going to break for lunch, and then after lunch we're having the two main groups are going to answer some questions and present their summaries, and that is going to start at 1:30. So we're all convening back here at 1:30. Okay, thank you.